to see a kilo monster. Never see that.
I've seen them, but not here. And how they approach, I didn't expect that we are gonna make a kill. I thought maybe the zebra gonna run away, but yet we see.
So I know it's been a while, y'all. I really have no excuse. We're gonna go ahead and dive into exactly where I have even been at, what I've been doing, why am I coming back onto YouTube, and what you can expect in terms of content from this channel. Because there's been a lot of changes around. If you've been following me on Instagram, of course you know I have been gone dark on Instagram. There's a lot of like reasons as to why in terms of business development, right? So I've been working on my in terms of program-wise, elevated mentorship. And a lot of you have seen it. Not a lot of you know my students: South Bay Chris, Jay Faded, Sun Cuts, King Cardell, Josias, Berg Styles, Brandon Gorell. The list can go on and on and on. And really just working on a better program, and getting out of the clutter of like YouTube and creating content all day, every single day, and really figuring out what it takes to really create a great business, and also working on client problems, right? So not only running a great business, but also how can I better help my clients, and how can I better help my students progress further, right? So where have I been? I think it's like the biggest question. I have my notes right here too. So where have I been? Well, I've been right here. I've been literally in my apartment just working every single day, whether it be learning, developing, and progressing my program and my business, and as well as podcasting. I've been on podcasting platform like crazy, but I just haven't been on YouTube. It took up for me at the time when it just took up too much of my time, and as well as Instagram, like creating a post, understanding what goes into that. It took too much of my time. And for me now, I feel like this is like the perfect time for where I'm at to go ahead and hop back on YouTube. So, what am I doing? Well, like I said, I'm building out elevated mentorship, helping other barbers get out of the rut, out of like really where I was at in the barber industry, where it was like charging it went from like $20 to $40 haircuts, and working all day, every day. And what I found with YouTube, at least, is, the content I was making, better served like barbers who were just starting out. And I even though it's very, very necessary, I found a bigger problem with barbers who really had no solution on how to get out of that cycle. And so I had to just go ahead and go dark and really work on my own program, and really go, really take a deep dive of like, why does this problem happen, and like, what is the solution? And been able to curate a lot of things, been able to come up with a lot of great value that I am ready to go ahead and share on YouTube as well too, in very different platform, or not platform, but content general. So as you can already tell, a lot of this is not going to be edited. In terms of like videos like this, I plan on just going ahead and just straight up, hey, let's record and just go ahead and give out game. I got notes right here that I can go off of, and really give out game in terms of that. Because look, if you can't sit here and watch a YouTube tutorial that's going to help you progress your career, you have a lot of bigger issues in terms of wanting to be entertained rather than progressing with whatever you're doing, especially in the barber industry. And that's what I find with a lot of barbers. So taking a very different angle at it, I always love going ahead and pushing myself, and this is definitely a stretch, is doing videos like this. Of course, I've been on podcasting platform. You can go ahead and check that out with Apple Music or Spotify, Deluxe Podcast. I'll make sure to leave the links below. So there's a lot of other great content. You can go ahead and search for me. I'm not going to be on Instagram as much, even though that is like my platform to go ahead and spread out and disperse information, like whether I drop a YouTube video or a podcast. Let me see, what else do I have? Like, so what I've been doing, yeah. So I have my first, South Bay Chris, one of my first students in my program. He just broke the $100 barrier, which is incredible. Because that was the standard I set out to create when I wanted to go ahead and get more into education, because it wasn't just like, let's give tips. I'm results based. I can give a shit about anything else. What truly matters is the results I get from my clients. And as you can see, even Sun Cuts, right? Sunny started with me about 6 months ago, and incredibly, like the dude, took him a little while, especially getting out of his mindset wise, which holds a lot of barbers back. Went from like charging 20, 25 to now charging 50. Like I said, it's been a little bit little bit of a push, but you know, a lot of other barbers are now starting to understand what it takes to integrate not only social media as well as mindset, as well as with their business tactics. And you see the growth that you can see, as well as, like I mentioned, South Bay Chris is up for an award for Rookie of the Year. So go ahead and vote for my boy South Bay Chris, as well as Jay Faded. You know, and just incredible what those two have been able to accomplish so far, and in their own separate entities. It literally shows you two different barbers who have two different styles of attacking the industry, can have this success, right? And create a lot of business growth as well as recognition, which really doesn't matter. We're more worried about the results we can get in their business and the returns that we can get for them. But it all stems from the same principles. And however you take those principles and turn those into tactics and use tactics that you develop and create for yourself to create individuality, is the best way to go ahead and move forward. So let me see, what else do I have before we get to this tutorial? Don't worry, we do have a tutorial, by the way. This is not clickbait. Oh, what to expect from the content coming up. So yes, I'm gonna be dropping weekly uploads on this YouTube channel. I'm planning on going in and dropping at least one tutorial that's gonna be coming. Don't worry, I know this intro is gonna be taking a while, but look, I've been off for a while. I thought, hey, might as well get all the crap out of the way so that we can go ahead and get the tutorial, which is also gonna be different content. It's not gonna be a step-by-step. I went ahead and thought, even battled with like, should I even drop a tutorial, just for the simple fact of, there's never been a magical tutorial that got me to charge $150, $200 for a haircut. It's more of the mindset wise, right? But I still thought it was very, very valuable to not only like comment on the growth that I've seen from, you know, like the haircut we're gonna see today with Jay Faded that I did on him was like from October 2018, and now it's March 2020. And I even made a comment in there about, you know, the growth that I've seen. Like, look, that haircut I could do way better now. And these are the reasons why. It's not because I'm flicking my wrist out a different way. It's my approach and the way I approach the idea of cutting hair, as well as my lowest standard, which we'll get into later. You know, so I'll be dropping one tutorial per month. The other 3 videos per month will be more game, like what you see right now. It's gonna be more of a style of like where, hey, look, I'm literally gonna set up my phone. We're gonna have a topic, and I'm just gonna go ahead and go through every single topic and kind of divulge and debunk everything that the barber industry takes as truth and barbers take as truth. But really, for me, I've had a year of being looking at industry from a third-person point of view. I've not been in the eye of the storm and being in the craziness of the industry. I've literally like kind of removed myself and just been able to look and observe. And when you're able to observe things from outside of the madness, you're really able to see what is truth and where people are kind of just like the masses are going like, okay, we're gonna accept this, rather than really questioning and saying, is this really truth? So we're gonna get into debunking a lot of stuff that has been really, really crazy for me just to watch and say, wow, I've even seen my own self in my business go in that direction. But when I strayed and created my own idea, way of thinking, that's when I seen the actual growth. And it's no wonder why barbers get stuck in this process of doing either 30-minute cuts, charging like as little as 40, 50 bucks, which I know is a lot for some people, but when you kind of understand this way of thinking, it's really not that much. And it's really kind of, it's playing small in the industry, that you can literally have a limited amount of growth and putting yourself inside of a box. As well as, look, I drop podcasts twice a week. So like content that you like to at least listen to what I'm gonna give to you throughout this tutorial. I go in deeper depth with these topics, where it'd be like 45 minutes or so of content like that, which is gonna be incredible. So I highly suggest you go ahead, and if you found this video, if you were to find it valuable, go ahead and check that out. I'm gonna drop the links below, Deluxe Podcast. Because I'm sure you're gonna love the podcast as well too. I've loved the content that I've been dropping so far, and the reaction has been incredible. So let's get on with this shit, because I'm sure you guys have been waiting for some content from me, and I'm really, really excited to get back on this platform and going in a different direction, and really going at it with this angle is gonna be fucking exciting as shit. So let's get started. All right, y'all. So like I said before, this is going to be a little bit different than what a lot of people are used to seeing, at least from this YouTube channel. This is honestly going to follow a lot of my like podcasting platform, but you get some, I still see value for the barbers who are just starting out watching YouTube tutorials, but I didn't see the value in posting when I wanted to help barbers get from like, there comes a point when in your career, when you get from like
just starting out to like established, but you hit a wall, right? And you hit a point in your career where you're just kind of either doing $20 to $30 haircuts, and it's just a revolving door of clients, and it just seems like never ever end. And for me, I remember being there at one point with, and I hated barbering because of that, right? It wasn't fun. It wasn't like exciting. It just seemed, I literally just created a job for myself. I literally was a labor to my own job I created for myself, which is amazing. But I just wanted to be able to figure out how to get up to that next level. And for me, there was no tutorial out there that taught me how to go from, charging what I was charging and being in that position to then charging what I was charging when I was cutting at the end of when I was cutting full time, charging $100 to $200 per haircut. And really, I don't. The mentality is, in the industry at least, like if you have the freshest fade, like you're gonna get paid more. If I get better with my haircuts, I'm gonna get paid more. And for me, what I've seen, that's completely ass backwards. For me in my business, as well as my mentor students, like, I mean, you look at South Bay Chris, right? The kid literally just raised his prices to $100. I've been working with him for about a year and a half now. He doesn't have a barber's license, and he cuts in his parents' garage. Now, a lot of people will be like, yo, what the fuck? And that's fine, right? A lot of people will be surprised, but guess what? You're not his client, right? And I think that's where a lot of people forget, like, not everybody is your client. And you have to be able to really hone in on one thing, right? And you cannot be all around trying to master all haircuts. It's literally just, all right, let's just master one aesthetic, one look, and become the go-to person for that. For me, the first principle that really allowed me to start really getting experience in my barbering career and charging top tier prices, right, was simply just that. I didn't try to go ahead and perfect my wave cuts or my low tapers. I knew it was a mid fade with like either crop or shear cut, and then a beard, and how can I perfect that exactly, figure out the problems that client is having, and get them to a mastery level. It wasn't trying to figure out, what my clippers did. It wasn't trying to figure out what, trying to do 30-minute haircuts, trying to cut for volume. And I think that's where a mass of barbers get lost at, because burnout is real, right? If you get stuck in 30-minute haircuts, you're thinking, okay, all I gotta do is cut more, but you're literally just reinforcing a labored mindset. Hard work equals money, and you have to really take yourself out from that. For me, I talk about my podcast a lot. If you haven't tuned in, please, by all means, check that out. I'll put the links at the bottom of this video. But really, you have to be able to separate your time from money. And in the industry where the mass idea is cut more, make more, it's really cut less, make more. That's what we're trying to achieve. Especially with the freedom that barbering allows each and every single barber to have, right? For me, like, I had a vision of, hey, I don't want to be cutting hair for the rest of my life, right? And even, it's funny, I was telling people like 5 years ago, I was telling people, I don't expect me to be cutting hair anymore. And I didn't know what that was going to entail, but I wanted to make sure, like, all right, that was my end. That was not my end goal, but that was like a big goal that I honed in on. And I tried different vehicles to get me to that destination. And, doing social media, understanding how to market myself, understanding how to raise my prices to become a barber who charges $150, $200 per haircut, allowed me to then go ahead and mentor other barbers how to build that up in their business, right? And now, I mean, at that time, I didn't even understand what could have came from that. I really didn't understand what was going to happen. And I think that's the perfect thing to do, right? As long as you have an idea of the overall vision you want to create for yourself, right? Even if it's super, super bland, like you just want to become financially free, great. You don't have to have that whole thing like meshed out. It's just understand where you're going and then literally pick a door to walk through. Maybe it might be a product, you want to start a product. Okay, let me walk through this door. And you find out, oh wait, this is not what I expected to be. It's not what fits my overall, what I wanted from my overall life. Let me walk back out of this door and pick a different door, right? A lot of people, that's barbering for them, right? They think, okay, like, let me go ahead and walk through this door and I'm going to create like I mean, I don't know what I even thought when I was going into barbering. I kind of went into barbering in a survival mode mindset, right? I didn't have a job. I just wanted to create some money for myself. I was in high school. And it was like an easy hustle. And so for me, I didn't really have an idea of how big I can get. It just kind of like all of a sudden, like, okay, I'm good at this. And then it kind of developed onto that. So honing into one thing, one vision, and then just trying out different doors. Okay, maybe it's education, maybe it's getting sponsored, maybe it's trying out all these different things. It's like literally like trying on clothes, and that's what I think about it. Literally, does this fit me? Does this look good on me? Is this how I want to be perceived? If not, cool, put it back up on the hanging rack, and then go to a different store and find new clothes, right? Find that new aesthetic that you're looking for. And really, like for me at least, like I said, there's no one tutorial that's going to get me to that top level. It's literally just taking an understanding of my habits. We're not our highest goals in whatever we want to, our highest version of ourselves, our highest vision of ourselves. We're literally only our lowest standard, meaning that whatever our lowest standard is, we're gonna ensure that we stay there. The example I always like to give out is like, look, if you're gonna go on a date with a girl, right? If you're a guy and you got a hot girl to go on a date with, your lowest standard that you're gonna show up to that date is not gonna be like, it's not gonna be, not taking a shower for a week, not brushing your teeth for a month, and then showing up with no deodorant on or whatever. Like, you're gonna make sure your lowest standard is pretty high that first date, right? And then if you continue dating, the lowest standard kind of goes back to normal. But that's typically how motivation goes, right? So if you get motivated very often, just understand that's gonna be very temporary, and you're always gonna revert back to your lowest standard no matter what. So instead of trying to always figure out a hack to get motivated, just figure out a hack to raise your lowest standard. And it really comes to accountability and responsibility. And I think when I started taking more accountability for my daily actions, how you do one thing is how you do everything. So not only just in haircut life, right? Like, for example, for my mentorship students right now, right? We go ahead and I simply ask them, how do you brush your teeth? How do you clean up after yourself? How is your station? All these things are like literally direct reflections of your haircuts. And if you're struggling getting better with haircuts, by the way, like, you don't just have to like learn how to cut hair better, because at a certain point, like, we all understand, okay, one guard goes into a two guard, close halfway open, fade that out. There's no more hack to that. It's okay. How can I go ahead and hack my habits? Because obviously the clippers aren't the problem. The steps aren't the problem. I must be the problem, right? You choose out what variables are working and not working. And you figure out, oh shit, okay, that's me. I'm the one that's not progressing because my lowest standard is just a 30-minute haircut. Let me just get it by to like when I think it's good. What's the most beautiful thing about this too, which is like focus on one thing, right? So if you're focused on 20 different things at once, which is, I'll get into this of why I went off Instagram and YouTube and all this stuff. Or I might have already done that before. When you focus on that one thing of just haircuts, or that one thing in your haircuts, you won't just go ahead and let it get by as passable, right? Like, if I'm working on my business, as well as cutting hair, as well as running a media agency, as well as, maybe let's say I'm running a brick and mortar store, and trying to do mentorship students, at some point in time throughout the day, like, we all do this. Like, we go ahead and say, okay, I got this to do, right? And then it's like, okay, you're only going to get that first thing up to a satisfactory level to where you can say, okay, cool, that's okay, I can move on from this now, right? And you're going to literally do that with every single thing throughout that day. Instead of, for me right now, I literally took out a whole day just to not only just shoot a YouTube video, or YouTube videos, I should say, but also plan out my content. Like, I literally take out a day just to plan out content, because I'm not going to go ahead and say, okay, this is like satisfactory level, let me move on to the next thing. No, I dedicate a whole day to one thing, and that will bring out mastery level. That will break you through like that wall. Like, we all have a wall where we kind of give up at. It's our pattern of existence. You could see it for simple terms, like when you go to the gym, if you work out, right? You go to the gym and you are, you always tap out at like the 8th rep, right? Obviously, that's your pattern of existence. Like, you're bench pressing 50 pounds, just using this example, and by the 8th rep, you start feeling the burn, and you kind of put it up. How do you expect to get, bigger, right? How do you expect to grow a bigger chest or get stronger if you stay within that pattern of existence, right? At some point in time, you're going to plateau and even maybe go backwards with your growth. Whereas you have to go ahead and push past that. It's the same exact way you must look at what you're doing with your career, right? How far in depth are you willing to go on your detail and your haircuts, right? I'm willing to bet however you work out is the same exact way you cut hair, if you work out, right? However you clean up your bathroom, however you clean up your room, however you clean up your car is the same way you cut hair. And it's the easiest step, right? How you do one thing is how you do everything. So the best thing about this is that you have direct reflection of like, okay, maybe I don't want to be truthful with myself about my haircuts, right? Maybe I want to boost up my ego, but I can go ahead and look at other areas of my life where, hey, look, this is a little bit messier and I'm going to go ahead and clean it up. And that's now going to be my lowest standard of myself. And this lowest standard gets to be carried into every aspect of my life. And so you don't have to directly like learn how to cut hair better. Learn how to do everything or just one thing that you're lacking at in life a little bit better. And I'm willing to bet you it's going to have a direct reflection, a direct correlated result to your haircuts. If you don't believe me, just try it out, right? Just try it out and see what happens. If it doesn't work, fine. You know, maybe you're kind of trying to prove me wrong, but so be it, right? Let me see where we at in this video. We're at 11 minutes, almost 12 minutes right now. So we got about like 6 minutes left. I talked way longer than I was expecting to be, but Jay Fade has that nice fade right there. So, you know, like for this, you know, for a haircut like this, I could probably do better now. Honestly, this was taken like, oh gosh, Joe's probably gonna be watching this. This was taken like October, November of 2018, I believe. Sometime like late in 2018. So these, like a lot of the content I have right now is going to be like a lot of lost file stuff. So it's kind of crazy to watch this and be like, wow, I could have done a better job. Like I'm looking at the fade. I'm like, there's a couple dark spots I would have gotten out, but that's because my standard has been raised since then, right? I've learned what my lowest standard is and I've raised that up. And you can do that. We all do this too when we look back through our haircuts, right? And I'm going to be posting a lot of different content on this channel, right? So I'm going to be posting more of value and of kind of like mentality shifts that barbers need to make to get to that next level, you know, because we all hit a plateau when watching the same. It's like redundant information almost, I feel like, right? It's the same tutorial, it's the same information, it's the same techniques, and there needs to be like a different angle that you or a different approach you look at barbering and look at your career as well as to get that progression. So even though I thought about abandoning like an idea of like, oh, fuck all this, I don't want to do, you know, putting out this content. I know at least somewhere, some young barber is going to appreciate this, you know, even though I'm not going step by step with this, just visualizing and seeing this as well as hearing this new way of thinking when attacking hair. It's going to allow them to like have leaps and bounds over a lot of other barbers, right? And when I thought about that, I was like, well, I might as well put it out, see what happens. If it provides value, that's all I care about at the end of the day. And you know, honestly, like barbers who are struggling at the beginning aren't the ones that are the most struggling. Wait, how am I going to say this? I figured out the barbers who are the most struggling aren't the ones that are like just starting out. They're not. They're the ones that I talked to you about before in terms of, you know, having an established career. They get stuck or get into a cycle and they don't know how to reverse or get out of that redundancy and see that progression again. And all that's needed is to take a different look, a different angle at the singular object that you're working at. So, you know, for haircuts, you have to change your binary poles. You have to change up how you approach it. You have to change your way of thinking around attacking either cutting hair, the business of hair, because doing more and doing more of the same, expecting different results. We all know that that's the definition of insanity. And you know, it's just the lack of demand, you know, creates a scarcity mindset. It literally infects a barber's mind with the scarcity mindset of, I can't raise my prices because my clients won't, you know, my clients will pay that. And that's, every time I hear them, I'm like, good, though, your clients will not be your clients at that next level. When I was charging, you know, $200, I think I probably only had about maybe one, if that, client that stayed with me since I had been charging $20. You get a whole new clientele when you get that. So, you know, you have to unjam from these binary poles of these beliefs, these hard jam beliefs of like what you think, you know, your business in barbering is like. and the easiest thing to do is like, look, take a diagnosis of where you are right now and flip that, right? And the easiest way, take a Myers-Briggs test. My Myers-Briggs tests are great because they give you a direct snapshot of, hey, look, this is where you are at right now. This is how you're showing up in life. As Joel flicks his eyebrows and goes model status on us. Okay, boy. A Myers-Briggs test is a great snapshot of, hey, this is how you're showing up in life. This is your beliefs. This is how your tendencies are. And you can you can honestly just like take the opposite letter of whatever that result gives you and say, okay, what does this mean to me? Let's say if you're introvert, if it gives you an I, you say, okay, what does being extrovert mean to me, and how would that help and assist me in breaking up the redundancy that I've been seeing in my life? And start there as well too, and try it out for like a month and see what new way of thinking it brings to you, right? For me, it's always like, okay, I have to flip my binary poles of being creative and disciplined. So for me, like I said before, I get off social media platforms for a while because I need to get disciplined on my business. But when I feel very creative and want to go ahead and share, then I go ahead and hop back on here because I want to see what this is going to do for what I've been building on the back end of things, and then kind of flip back and forth between the creative and disciplined. The creative person will always get beat out by the disciplined person, but that disciplined person will always, always, always get beat out by the person who was disciplined and then flip back to being creative, because at some point in time, you're going to max out your potential of being whatever you're disciplined in. So we're going to go ahead and continue talking, and there goes my lovely landscaper. We're going to continue talking about a lot of students like Suncuts, Sunny, Jay Faded, South Bay Chris, King Cardell, and really like what I've learned from just mentoring them, seeing them grow, and even for me, like seeing getting out of the eye of the storm of the barber industry and really taking a third person point of view look at what really is going on and what the mass belief is. And seeing what really truth is, because when you're in the middle of the eye of the storm, when you're in the heat of battle, you can't see what's going on. That's why, like, back in, what was it, like, early battle times, I don't even know what military operations I could even say, but the generals, they're not on the battlefield. They're not in the middle of war. They have a higher bird's eye view from what's happening, right? They have sonar and all this other type of stuff to go ahead and see from a third person point of view what's really going on, where to maneuver and where to move to. Whereas the soldiers, they're in battle not knowing what the hell is coming, right? Because you're in the heat of battle. You can only see what's right in front of you. Whereas when you take a step back, you could see the whole playing field for what it's really doing. And that's what I've been doing for this past year. So I'm really, really excited to go ahead and share with you guys exactly what I figured out. So that's the end of this tutorial. Wow, that went by very, very quickly. Well, you guys, if you found this of any value, by the way, we're going to drop more content, a little bit more in depth of what I've been talking about. Please go ahead and like, subscribe, and share this video. Stay up to date, as well as make sure you guys tune in to my podcast, where I also go very, very in depth in just one of these points that I've been talking about over this video. And with that, I cannot wait to be back on YouTube making one video per week. Like I said, we're going to drop, I'm going to drop one tutorial per month, and then about three other videos just worth of straight, like, okay, breaking down singular points of mindset to on how to progress in your barbering career, as well as like points of like, all right, how is South Bay Chris even charging $100 being a garage barber with no license, right? How is Suncuts just raise his prices to 50 and like from, what was he charging, maybe 25 bucks to 50 bucks in like 6 months? How did these things happen? And really kind of breaking that down just to give you guys a different bird's eye view, that third person point of view of what I'm seeing from the industry. All right. So with that, everybody, I appreciate you as always tuning in, sticking it out. It's been a long way to return, but your boy is back in action. So with that, y'all, make sure to like and subscribe this video, and I will see you guys next week.